for 10:30, no later than drop them drawers. I know what you want. I ask myself, is this shit real?
Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Alyssa, and if you are returning, welcome back. I know this content is going to be like way different because I didn't even announce to my YouTube that I was pregnant, and then now I'm just like popping up with a baby and my whole birth story. I want to get straight into the video, but before I do, I just want to add a disclaimer because my birth experience was kind of traumatic, and I just want to let you, especially for the first time moms, I don't want this to scare you. Everybody's body is different. Everybody's labor experience is different. So just because this happened to me does not mean that it's going to happen to you. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there because the last thing I want to do is scare anybody out there, especially first-time moms, because I'm a first-time mom myself, and I know how it felt when people were putting out content that was negative and just making the whole birth experience seem very scary. But yeah, that was just my disclaimer, and now I'm just gonna get like straight into the story time. So my baby is currently 2 weeks old. His due date was May 16th. I got induced May 15th, and this was not a planned induction. I actually wanted to avoid getting induced my entire pregnancy, actually, because I seen it as forcing my body to do something that it's not ready to do yet. So I wasn't against induction because I knew that if my baby didn't come by 41 weeks, I was gonna have to, get induced for his health and his safety. I tried not to be ignorant on the whole induction subject, but I'm just gonna explain what happened the day of the induction and everything that led to there. So I had a very healthy pregnancy. I had no complications in my pregnancy. I went to my 40-week appointment. I was actually 39 weeks and 5 days for my 40-week appointment. That morning of my appointment, I noticed that I wasn't getting as much baby movements as I usually do. And my baby, he was a food motivated baby. Like, if I ate anything, he would instantly move, instantly kick. So I drank cold water, I ate breakfast, and I still noticed that he wasn't moving. So I was like, okay, I have a doctor's appointment. I'm going to speak to my doctor about this. So I went to the appointment. I explained to her that I'm kind of concerned. I haven't felt any movement. I drank cold water because cold water is supposed to, get them moving. So she said, okay, I'm gonna grab the ultrasound. We're gonna check the heartbeat, all of that. So we checked the heartbeat. Baby was good. She got the ultrasound machine. When she got the ultrasound machine, I kind of already had a feeling that something was wrong because she was just very quiet. And she was like moving the probe around everywhere. And I was like, okay, this is kind of taking long, so something has to be up. And she told me that my fluid was low. And she asked if I had any leakage or anything, which I didn't. And she was kind of surprised because usually when you lose fluids, you'll usually leak. That's what they mostly tell you to look after during pregnancy. But I didn't have any leakage, no nothing. So she actually said my fluid, I had 1 sac of fluid and it was measuring 1.8, and I think it was 2.2 that was like the normal range. So she said that it was low, and she said that she wanted to send me to L&D to get induced. So she said, go home, get all your things ready, pack everything up, eat something before you go in because you're not going to be able to eat once you get to the hospital. So I called up my boyfriend. I told him to get everything ready. Like, it's go time. I called my parents. So when I got home, we loaded everything into the car. I got to the hospital around 12 o'clock. I think it was 12 or like 12:15, somewhere around there. I got there. The nurse said that she was surprised that I even came that early, because she was like, usually people take their time, especially when they know that it's going to be their last meal. But me, I was already too paranoid because my fluid was low. I was like, no, I'm not even going to. They said I could take my time, but I was not taking any chances. So I immediately took myself to the hospital. So I got to L&D. They admitted me, gave me my room and everything. Right when I got there, they hooked me up to the baby monitors. The doctors came in within an hour of me getting there. They explained the whole induction process. They came in with the ultrasound machine. They wanted to make sure that he was head down, which he was. So that looked good. Then they explained to me that they wanted to give me this medication. I forgot what it was called, but they can insert it inside your cervix, or they can give you it in your mouth to dissolve it. They gave it to me through my cervix because she said that it works faster that way. So they said every dose, I think the dosage was every 4 hours. I can't remember if it was 3 or every 4 hours. So they did that. It was like around 1:30. Yeah, 1:30. She also checked to see if I was dilated. I forgot to mention my doctor at my 40-week appointment. She checked to see if I was dilated, and I was not. My cervix was soft though. So I got my cervix checked for the first time at 36 weeks. And then I ended up going to the hospital around 37, 38 weeks, and they did a whole bunch of cervical checks. So I did not get any cervical checks when I was 38 weeks because I was like, hell no, I already got 3. That's too much. And I wasn't dilating. So my cervix was soft, and the medicine that they gave me, it's supposed to, help you. It's supposed to help soften your cervix and help you dilate. And they usually give it to you before Pitocin. So they gave me that medication. Then they said that they were going to come back with the Foley balloon. And that was supposed to, Foley balloon, that gets you dilated. So she said that they were going to do that after I got the second dose of the medication they inserted into my cervix. So they came back around 4:40, 4:45. They gave me a second dose of that medication. Then they came back with the Foley balloon. And I was very hesitant with the Foley balloon because TikTok and just a bunch of people put fear into that, saying that it was painful. And listen, I wanted to avoid a C-section as well, which is why I was with whatever they were doing. And I did not plan. I'm not gonna say I didn't plan, because I was very realistic with my birth plan, if I can even call it that, because I didn't have an official birth plan. I just knew what I wanted and what I didn't want. And I also had realistic expectations that birth does not go how you want it to go. I didn't want a C-section either. That was one of my worst fears as well. But yeah, I totally got sidetracked and forgot what I was talking about. But yeah, so epidural, that's what I was talking about. Epidural, I wanted to try to do natural, but I knew that it was going to be very painful, so there was a possibility of me getting the epidural. I just preferred not to get it. I wanted to try and do natural. But getting induced messed my whole epidural plan up, because you're forcing your body to dilate. It dilates way faster, so it's going to be way more painful. The contractions are going to be more painful. Yeah, I already had I already had that expectation that I was most likely going to get the epidural. So they came in to the room. They inserted the Foley balloon. Now, with the balloon, the insertion did not hurt. But I also want to mention that you have to be at least 1 centimeter dilated for them to put the Foley balloon in, which is why they waited for me to get 2 doses of that medication they gave me. But yeah, so they inserted it. The insertion didn't hurt, but the pressure, I will say, you feel the pressure immediately of it. Like, you can feel it kind of opening your cervix. I would say that it was very intense, and it started working immediately because after the doctors left the room and everything and my nurse came back in, I told her, I said, yeah, I think I'm gonna need that epidural. And, and I was only 1 centimeter dilated at this point. I think I was 1 centimeter or 1.5 centimeters. But anyway, I told her, I think I'm gonna need the epidural. I'm gonna wait it out a little bit, because usually people say that it wears off. So I didn't want to get it too early, and I also wanted to try and take the pain, see if it was manageable. So yeah, that happened. A few hours went by. I think they came in to check on me another 4 hours after that. So they checked to see how dilated I was. The Foley balloon, it was helping me dilate, but it wasn't moving. It wasn't like very quick. Around almost midnight, my son's heart rate kept dropping on the monitor. So they came in, and throughout that whole night, they kept waking me up to flip me onto my sides. And it was working. His heart rate would go back up after I kept flipping. But they came into the room and they were just telling me that we're kind of concerned. There's a possibility of a C-section, but they said we're trying not to go that route, so we're going to keep doing what we're doing. So yeah, I tried sleeping. It's like, nobody tells you, especially if you get a C-section, that your birth is gonna like kind of be a blur, because I'm trying to remember what I can and everything that I could, but it's like all over the place because stuff is just popping up. Like, stuff that I didn't even think I remembered is popping up now that I'm talking about it. But I got the epidural after the Foley balloon because the intense contractions it was giving me. My partner was very, very supportive. He wanted me to hold his hand and everything when the contractions was hitting. But I was pushing his hand away. I was like, no, because I wanted to grab the rails. Because I was like, I don't want to break your hand. And plus, just holding the rails was giving me relief for some reason. But he kept insisting that I grab his hand. So I was kind of like, it was kind of like getting me angry. But I did appreciate the support and everything that I had from him with my whole labor experience. But when I got the epidural, I was chilling. Y'all are gonna love, if you get epidural, you're gonna love how numb that it makes you feel. Because when they did the cervical checks, I didn't feel it. When they were tugging onto the Foley balloon, and even when they took it out, I didn't feel it because of the epidural. The one thing I will say that hurt was the catheter. That catheter hurt. Even with the epidural. I don't want to imagine what the catheter felt like without the epidural, because I felt them put it in and take it out. And some people say that they don't even feel the catheter going in or being taken out with epidural, but I did. But like I said, everybody's experience is different. So just because it goes one way for somebody does not mean it's going to go that way for you. So yeah, throughout the night, they kept coming in. At some point around 5 or 6 in the morning, I think it was, they were about to change shifts, but the doctors came in, like about 3 of them, because there's residents as well as attendings, because it was like a teaching school as well. So a bunch of them came in the room, and they were just explaining, like, we've been flipping you over all night, and we we've been watching him, monitoring him, and they were basically just concerned, saying that they're not gonna let this keep going on for much longer. So after they left, I went back to bed. And since there was a shift change, there's always a shift change at 7 o'clock. So the new doctor, he came in around 8. He basically said, we're going towards the route where you're going to need a C-section. He said the baby does not look like he's tolerating any of this medicine. And he said, usually we give Pitocin after we're done with the balloon and that other medicine that they gave me. So he said, we're going to wait it out a bit, just a little more, just to see if the baby changes, if there's any change with the baby. And he said, if there is, I'll get the Pitocin, but if not, C-section. So nothing changed. He ended up coming back in the room like 30 minutes after, and he said, it's not getting better and you're going to need a C-section. So I'm not going to get emotional in this video, or at least I'm trying not to. I don't want to do that on camera. But like I said, I was trying to avoid a C-section, so I was a little teary-eyed when I was told I had to get the C-section. Very, very nervous as well, because I never had surgery a day in my life. And, you know, this was major. I was thinking about my body afterwards, the recovery, all of that. And I had a thing coming for me, because I think that society definitely underestimates C-sections, because it's not easy. And I'm gonna get into that when I get to the point of the video, like the C-section point. But I definitely underestimated the toll that a C-section can take on you mentally and physically. So they said the anesthesiologist is gonna come speak with you, give you some consent forms, explain the procedure to you, and then after that they're basically gonna get the ball rolling. So the anesthesiologist, he came in, he spoke to me, he basically went over the procedure, how it's gonna go, the epidural, like the medicines and stuff they're gonna be giving to me during the C-section. And they also brought in my boyfriend's, they brought in the gear for the surgery room for him. So he was getting dressed with that. And after the anesthesiologist left, they had me take off my jewelry and everything. They shave your stomach where they're gonna cut. So the nurse came in, she did that. They put the little hair cap over, they unplugged everything, and then they took me to the OR room. And when I entered the OR room, that's like when everything immediately hit me. There was just so much going on. Everybody just like scrambled everywhere trying to get stuff prepared. And it's cold in there. Very cold. And I was just thinking, y'all need to hurry up, because I need my boyfriend in here. Because I already knew, like, he was the only thing that was going to keep me calm. He was the only person I wanted in the room. So I was like, yeah, chop, because y'all are taking a little minute. So they took me off of the hospital bed I was on. They carried me onto the OR operating table. They put that drape thing over. The anesthesiologist, he kept inserting, I think epidural, I don't know, it's like a blur, but he kept inserting something into my spinal needle or whatever. I'm assuming it's epidural, because it kept numbing me, or at least they were trying to. So he was doing that. I feel like they were kind of also rushing the process, but I can't blame them, because my baby's heart rate was dropping. So they did like this little pinch test on my left side. I felt that I was completely numb on my right side, but my left side was iffy. So they did like some weird pinch test. They were like, "Can you feel this?" And I was like, "Yeah." So the anesthesiologist kept shooting. And after multiple times of them asking me if I can still feel it, I could. For some reason, like, I was numb on my left side, but I wasn't completely numb. Like, I could feel something. I can feel some sort of sensation. So I kept explaining to them I can still feel it. But I guess the anesthesiologist, he got to the point where, you know, they can't keep shooting more and more into, because I still have my baby inside of me. So, and they also like to avoid putting you under as well, because that can pass on to the baby. That's for like emergency situations. And he explained that to me in the room, I forgot to mention. But basically, after he finished inserting whatever he could, he told the surgeon, basically said, "Okay, I think she's good. I think she's ready to go." And this is where it gets traumatizing, Lord. I felt them cut me. I could feel her like open the left side. They didn't completely cut like the whole thing because I literally screamed ow. But I felt it, and I could kind of feel her tugging to open my stomach up as well. And I just said ow, 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 and she kept going for some reason. Like, I'm saying ow, 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 you're still going. And the anesthesiologist, he was like right behind me, and he was like, "Okay, the guys, no, we need to stop." And they were like, "We're gonna have to put her under." And I was just staring at the light that was right above me, and in my peripheral I can just see people moving everywhere. They finally decided to bring my boyfriend into the room when she started opening me up. So the first thing my boyfriend heard was me scream fucking ow. And then they immediately took him out of the room, because your partner, nobody can be in the room if you're getting put under. So right when they brought him in, they had to take him right out. And I knew they were moving fast. There was another anesthesiologist as well, like his assistant or something, I don't know. But she kept checking on me, saying, "You're okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?" Obviously I wasn't okay, but you know, she was just there to comfort me. They were trying to move as fast as they could because I was in pain. My heart rate, I just know, I didn't hear the machines, but I just know my heart rate was out of this world. I was just focused on the pain that I was feeling where the incision was. But yeah, they put a mask on me. Right when they put the mask on, they said, "Just take deep breaths, just take deep breaths." And I was like, when the hell am I gonna be put to sleep? But I remember I breathed through the mask like 3 times, and then I was out. I don't even remember going out. After that, when I was getting woken up, all I remember was they were pulling me to the recovery room still, and I just remember the anesthesiologist yelling my name to wake me up. Like, he was like, "Alyssa, Alyssa." That's when I woke up. My boyfriend was in the recovery room with the baby. When I got into the recovery room, I was still very loopy, guys. Like, telling you this story, there's a lot of stuff that I can't even remember because I was loopy. I don't even, when they gave me my son for skin to skin, I barely even remember that. Barely. Because of the anesthesia, I guess. Just being loopy from it. So they were like, "Do you want to do..." Well, first, the anesthesiologist, he asked if I was experiencing pain. And I was. Immediately when I woke up, I felt the pain from the incision. When I tell you guys, I did not know, like, of course it's a surgery. It's going to be painful. I did not know I was going to feel that pain immediately when I woke up. This is a pain that I can't explain. I can't describe this pain to you, but the incision pain is just something else, and it was there. And he asked if I was in any pain. I said yes. He asked where. I said my pelvic area. They couldn't give me any medication, any pain medication, till like 8 hours after. So I just felt my incision pain for 8 hours. So after that, after the anesthesiologist left, there was a nurse in the room the whole time. She was charting or something on the computer in the room. I don't know what she was doing. They asked if I wanted to do skin to skin, and I said yes. And then that's when they gave me my son. And then they just had me in the recovery room for like 30 minutes, I guess, because that's where they watch you over before they take you to the mother-baby unit. They waited for a room to be prepared for me as well. They came and they took me to my room. They got everything set up. I met my new nurse. Like, half of this stuff is a blur, and it's freaking crazy. It's insane how much you forget. And I'm sure with a regular C-section, like not being put under, of course you'll be able to remember it, unless it was very traumatizing. But I couldn't remember anything because I was put under. But yeah, I would say my birth experience was traumatizing because I felt them cut me, and it was also traumatizing because I had to, get a C-section when I did not want a C-section. My bad, guys. The baby started crying and I had to give him to his dad. So I'm in like a different room and everything now. Yeah, so with the whole C-section and the birth in general, it was pretty traumatic for me. The recovery process with the C-section, so I couldn't walk for about 8 hours that day. I got the surgery around 10 o'clock. Wait, no, it was before that. I got it at like 9 or 8:50ish because my son was born at 9:58, so around 9 o'clock. Or not even, towards the end of 9 o'clock, because they got him out fast. I forgot that they rush to take the babies out when you go under, because like I said, it could pass on to the baby. So I didn't walk for the first time until 6 p.m. that night, and that was because I was ready to. You don't have to walk that early. The nurse, they'll ask if you're comfortable with doing that. The hospital stay, I stood for 2 days. I had the option to stay for 3, but I wanted to stay for 2 because I missed home. And yeah, I don't like staying, and I don't like being admitted into the hospital. But yeah, so they served breakfast, lunch, dinner, all of that. I got pain medication. And they also gave me iron pills to take because I had acute blood loss, which is life-threatening blood loss, but that's also common with C-sections. I lose a lot of blood during C-sections. So they gave me iron because that could cause you to become anemic if you don't take iron, because that replaces your red blood cells. And then they sent me home with that as well. They sent me home with ibuprofen. So I want to talk more about the incision for the C-section because it's very, very painful to walk. And not only because of the C-section, because you get an epidural if you get a C-section, but with the epidural, when you walk, it's kind of like you're hunched over, and it just feels like there's elephants sitting on your back when you walk. And that's from the pain from the incision, but also because the epidural is still wearing off, it gives that effect as well. So when I walked up to go to the bathroom and stuff, it was pretty painful. You get a burning sensation in your incision when you like sit up, or if you when you move around. That's because your nerves are cut when you get a C-section, and they're like trying to, I can't, the nurse explained this to me, but your nerves are cut, and then they're like trying to reconnect back together, which is why you get a burning sensation. That was really painful. It was really hard to walk unassisted to the bathroom, so my boyfriend was helping me. The first time I did walk, it was just to the chair. And I honestly, if you're getting a planned C-section, I would suggest getting a rocking chair, because chairs are so much easier to feed your baby and bond with your baby. Because when you have a C-section, and this is one of the worst parts, you're going to feel useless, because when you have a C-section, you can't lift anything. You can't lean over to grab your baby or anything if you wanted to. You can't even get up if your baby is crying. So with me, within my first day, I was already crying to my mom, because I was telling her I feel like I'm a bad mom because I can't get up, and I can't even do the basic things that I should be doing to take care of my baby, because I can't even walk by myself. So the recovery, the first few days, it was really hard and humbling as well. But like I said, with the rocking chair, or just any chair in general, sitting there, it made it a little more comfortable and easier to hold him, because laying down in the bed and trying to breastfeed or even feed your baby with the bottle, because I did both, that was kind of hard, and it caused pain with my incision. I showered the next day, I think. Yeah, I showered the next day, because the first day I was still kind of iffy with walking. I didn't have a chair in the shower. I wish that they put chairs in the shower. But there was a railing, so I used that. You can't wet your incision at all or anything. So, I mean, you can wet it, you just can't use soap on it. My bad. But yeah, the whole birth experience, it was definitely traumatic for me. They did tell me that since there was no issues with me, I wasn't the issue. It was because the baby wasn't taking the medicine well. Since there was no issues with my dilation or anything, that I can have a vaginal delivery for the next child. That's if the pregnancy is healthy. I mean, I know it will be, so not if. But if everything is good with the next pregnancy, then they said that a vaginal delivery is allowed to happen if I wanted it to. And I definitely will say that I do not want a C-section ever again. And I don't plan on having another kid for a long time, like 5 years and up, because I want a big gap. And I think that would be my last kid as well. Not even I think, that will be, because I'm not having more than 2 kids. But I've been thinking, and I think that I'm so traumatized that I'm honestly scared to have another kid, because of the chance of there being another C-section. And then just with the first days coming home, I had the baby blues, and it's just hard when you feel like you're useless because you can't do stuff with a C-section. You know, it's a major abdominal surgery. So there was that. And then also just adjusting to having a baby and being a mom in general. That's something that's hard as well, that I wish people would speak more on. But if you guys have any induction or C-section questions, just comment down below. And I always reply to my comments, especially fast as hell, because my phone be dry. So, but if you guys have any questions about that or the process in general, I can answer that for you down in the comments with no issue. And like I said, just because this was my experience does not mean that it's going to be yours. So don't let this put fear into you, but also let it be like a reminder of the possibility that you can get a C-section with an induction. If you don't expect it, you should. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some insight as well, and it helped educate you, all of that. But yeah, so I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, drop some video recommendations or stuff if you have any. I'm open to those as well, because since I'm gonna be home for 2 months doing nothing. I mean, I can make a lot more YouTube videos. So if you guys have any suggestions, just drop them below. Any questions, drop them below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.